Okay, hi, my name is Alex. So today I'll be presenting the final assignment. So over here we have our first screen, which is the history screen. It requires a user object, and then over here is a dynamic list to hold the submission data. And then boolean is loading, we set to true first. So in the init state, we have this fetch submission data method, which is a post request to get submissions PHP, where it will post the worker ID, and then if it's successful, it will show 200, the code is 200, and it will store the data inside this submission list. And if it's not successful, it will show error connecting to a server. Okay, and so for the build method, so initially if its loading is true, it will show the spinner icon, and then if it's empty, it will also show no submissions found. So over here it will build a list of submission, and then it will get the submission data, and then everything is inside of a card. So, and then with a margin inside of the card, and then this pile that shows the task title, task title, and then the text itself is the submitted ad and the submission text. So that's the previous data. So if you press on the card itself, it will route to the edit submission screen. So for the next screen is the edit submission screen. So over here again, it requires a submission object from the history screen, and then I'm using a global key form state here to validate the form input, and then a text editing controller. And then initially is saving is false, so in the init state it will call the in the init state it will display the previous submitted text by using a text controller. And then over here there's the update submission method, so this one is to check whether the form is valid, and then if it's valid, then it will set the state savings to true, so it will load. And then over here with a post request that posts into edit submissions, so it will post the submission ID and the updated text. And then after it's done, it will set its savings to false, so it will stop loading. If it's successful, it will show this text, and then it will pop back to the history screen. And if it's false, then it will just show this failed to update submission. So over here in the build method, we have the app bar edit submission, and then a body where I have a padding inside that wraps everything, and then call on the form key here to validate the input. So here we have two text form field. First one is read only, where it shows the task title and task title, and then we have a size box here for spacing, and then the second text form field will allow the user to edit their text. So if it's empty, if it's null, it will show this message, or else it will proceed to this one over here. So if its saving is true, it will continue to load, or else it will have this elevated button where if you press on it, it will call on this submission button, submission method, and then it will save the change. It will show the save changes. So for next one is a profile screen. Okay, so this is the profile screen. So the profile screen over here again requires a user, and then over here is to get the text input. So over here it will display the user data like the name, email, and phone for the init state, and then this one is just to free up memory if not using the controller. So in the update profile method, there is again a form key to validate the input, and then it will set the updating is to true. And then over here it will have another post request where it will post the worker ID, name, email, phone, and address into the table, and then it will set its updating is to false. So if it's successful, it will show profile updated successfully. If not, it will just show the fail message. Okay, so for the build method, is again there's an app bar, and then a padding, and then a form key, and then a list word for the child where it has children and 4 text form field over here. So first one is for the name, second one is for the email, third one is for the phone, and fourth one is for the address, and then the size box for spacing. So we set that it's updating. If it's true, it will continue to load, or else there is an elevated button for save changes, and then it will call on the update profile method. Okay, so done with the screen submission completion. Okay, and then for the next one is the edit submissions PHP. Okay, let's yeah, we'll start with the get submission PHP first. So okay, the get submission here is to retrieve the data from the table. So over here it checks for the worker ID if it exists. If not, it will show this message, and then it will pass the worker ID into integer value. Now next it will run this SQL statement where it will select the ID text work ID worker ID as task title from the table submissions. Then it will join with another table called table works, where the worker ID matches with the ID. Yeah, and then it's ordered by the submitted date, submitted time over here. Then it will store everything into a result, and then this one is to check whether this result exists at least more than one row, and then we will create a submissions array over here. So while there is still data inside the table, the row will be stored into this submission array over here. So if it's successful, it will show success, and then it will return back the submissions array. And then if it's not yeah, and then get submissions, it will okay, next one is edit submissions. So edit submissions over here, it will check for submission ID and updated text. If it doesn't exist, it will show missing parameters. And then submission ID will be passed into this integer value, and then the updated text will be using this real escape string here to prevent the SQL injection. And then over here we have the update statement here to update the table submissions, where it will update the updated text where the ID matches with the submission ID. Then if it's this one is to check exists. If it's true, it will show success. If it doesn't, or else it will show this fail message. Update submissions. And then next the get profile method, PHP. So over here again checks for the worker ID, whether it exists or not, and then over here is to pass the integer worker ID into integer value. Then it will run an select statement. It will show the ID, name, email, phone from user table, where the ID matches with the worker ID. And then this one is to check whether it exists. And then it's to fetch the data, and then if successful, it will show the success, and then it will show the row, means the result. Yeah. Or else it will just show the failed message and then user not found. So for the update profile method, so again it checks for worker ID, name, email, phone, address. If it doesn't exist, it will show missing parameters. And then next it will retrieve it will pass the worker ID into integer value, and it will post this information using the real escape string method here to prevent SQL injection, and then it will use the update update key word here to update the user table, where it will set the name into this name it retrieves from the user, and then email. So basically it matches with this retrieve information over here, where the ID matches with the worker ID. Then if it's successful, it will show profile updated. If not, it will show error updating profile. So this is the table. So, yeah. And then I'll show the flow. Yeah. Okay, so I'm using Chrome here to run the app. Yeah, so it's loading. Okay, so I'll first log in first. So over here there's three tabs, and yeah, so I'll go to the login page first. So over here there's the log out button. So should okay. So this is the assigned task over here. So you can check the history. So this is the submission that I submitted before, and then the profile over here. So over here, let's try to change my name, Alex, to double X, and then I will save. And over here, yeah, I will change this history. So when you click on this card, it will show this one. And then let me try updating this. Let's see. So this will be the fifth change. Okay, so it's done. Complete. Complete. And then I will check with the database. So over here you can see my name is double X, and then the submission yes will be here. Yes. Let me try. Yeah, so you can see the text over here is successfully changed. Okay. I think I haven't explained the main screen logic, so I'll explain it now. So basically over here the main screen requires a user object, and then over here there's an integer called select index, where is the index of the currently selected tab, so there's 3. And then over here there is the init state where 3 tabs over here requires user object, and then over here there's the on tab method. So if it's tab, it will update the selected index of the current index. Yeah. And then logout method here is to just push to the login screen on the top right UI. So this is the build method. Over here add bar for worker task management, yes. And over here there is an icon button called logout. So over here it will display a bottom navigation bar, and then the current index will be the selected index, and we call on the on tab method here, and then the items will be these 3 items: task, history, and profile. So yeah, so task, history, and profile. Okay, and yeah, that's all. Yeah, I think that's all. So thank you.